Hi, my name is Chelsea Billings, and I am doing my oral presentation project over rabies. I'm going to talk about what it is, how to treat it, some signs and symptoms, some examples of ways you can get it, and I will ask for questions at the end. So what is rabies? Rabies is a preventable viral infection. It is whenever a rabid animal bites a person or like a pet. And according to the CDC, it is spread when a rabid animal bites a person. And then I cited it down in the corner here. Down in the corner. Okay. Some examples of rabid animals that we have in our area are raccoons, some skunks, another raccoon, some bats. Bats are very common around here at night. Some foxes, and some like coyotes, or in other areas if there's like wolves or anything like that. And some other examples of rabid animals would be your household pets. If you don't vaccinate them properly, you can get rabies from them too. What does rabies affect? Rabies affects the central nervous system, and a lot of people don't realize this. They think that a lot of people just aren't educated on what rabies actually is and what all it affects and how deadly it can be. If a person that is infected by the rabies virus does not seek appropriate medical attention, then it can cause a disease in the brain that results in death. And this is from an article from the CDC. They had a lot of good information on that. And I personally didn't know that it affected the central nervous system, so I found this very interesting. Some ways to prevent rabies: you can just avoid stray animals. A lot of the stray animals are known for like ways that people get rabies just because they're not vaccinated properly. Don't feed the wildlife, because if you feed them by your hand, obviously you're putting yourself at risk to get rabies yourself. But if you keep feeding them, say you go to like Tennessee or somewhere and you see a bear and you feed it, then it might just keep coming back and want more, and it might attack you just because it knows you have food. Do not mess with sick, injured, or dead animals. Another thing is it can bite you, and it might not be properly vaccinated. Educate your children how to properly manage or like handle wildlife. A lot of kids just are raised to go outside and play with anything they see, and they won't know that if they get bit, that it could possibly put them in such bad danger to die. And the people need to make sure that they vaccinate their pets, because a lot of people don't realize how deadly the virus is. And lastly, you need to make sure you report your bites to the proper officials. That could be the DNR if it's a wildlife incident. You could report it to the doctors and stuff at the hospital, just anyone that you need to. Okay. Sorry, you can't really see this. Okay, some signs and symptoms. At first, there are some symptoms, and there are some different symptoms for after the disease progresses. So first, when you first get it, you might just experience normal like flu symptoms, which might be weakness, discomfort, fever, and a headache, which that's why most people don't realize how bad this virus is, because they don't think that they have it. They think they just have like the flu or something. But after it progresses, you may have anxiety, confusion, agitation, or even cerebral dysfunction. And this is all coming from the CDC article that I read. And I personally didn't know any of the signs and symptoms of rabies, And I know if I got bit, being older now, I know, but when I was younger, if I got bit by like my dog or something, I wouldn't have thought that I would be in danger to get rabies if I had just these normal weakness, discomfort, fever, and headache. And I'm glad that I had this opportunity to do my research. Okay, what to do when you get bit. The first thing you want to do when you get bit is you want to wash the area with soap and water. And this is most important because it helps with it won't help like with getting the virus, but it'll decrease the chance of infection with it. And then you want to seek medical attention immediately, just because of how fast this infection can damage your central nervous system. Okay. Treatment. What you want to do after you go to the doctor is they will more than likely give you the vaccine for the rabies, but it can be kind of costly. So some people just take a chance of not getting it, but there is a vaccine for rabies, and it helps the infection not take over the body. It helps like slow it down and that kind of sort. The survival rate of rabies is actually not very high. It is a disease that normally ends in death, just because of how many people are just uneducated, or if they don't want to pay the money to get the vaccine. Around where we live, there are lots of stray animals, and a lot of people might just be like out running since it's nice out now, and they might just get bit while they're exercising outside. So this is a very great piece of advice from the Mayo Clinic staff. So here I have a micro, I don't know if you can see that. It's a picture of a microscope slide. I don't think you can see that. There we go. Okay, so the neon green things you see here, it represents the rabies antigen, and if it is a positive for the antigen, then it turns this neon green. So I thought that was pretty cool. That is from the Wilson and Road article. And I have just a fun fact on here. You're more likely to get rabies from a pet than the wildlife outside. And I personally think this is because wildlife is more scared of you than you are of it. And so they tend to run away more, but your pets are familiar with you, and if they just happen to like snap at you and you might not have got them up to date with their rabies shots, it is very likely that you might encounter a problem with rabies. Okay, so the incubation period for rabies, it varies from person to person and infection to infection, but the average is 3 to 8 weeks. And like I said, this varies from everyone, but this incubation period, the 3 to 8 weeks, is not the same as the 10-day observation period. Those are two different things. Okay, and then I have my We're Excited page here. I start at the top with the CDC article, and then I go to the Mayo Clinic staff, the Wilson and Road, and the Washmo. Okay. And if you guys have any questions, just feel free to let me know. You can email me or ask me anytime you see me. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope you have a great day.